Leadership Award winner in the category of Manufacturing and Operations Leader of the Year, Shukla Mistry. She has been selected as the first woman director, refineries of the oil marketing PSU, Indian Oil. A metallurgical engineer, she also holds an advanced diploma in management from the Institute of Chartered Financial Analysts of India, besides certification in industrial radiography and ultrasonic non-destructive testing. Shukla Mistry, many congratulations, and thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
You are a metallurgical engineer, you work to get a management diploma, you do so many things. I also read that you have a very keen interest in debates, poetry, and sports. What is your secret to time management?
Nothing secret, is very normal, but I like everything to be done in a day. So I do the work in the office as much as time possible for me, unless I get totally tired and feel this is the time to go home. I go to straight to the court, getting myself ready maybe at 9:30. Till that time I work at my office, and I keep my I usually play badminton, so I have a team, so I keep them informed that I'll be coming at 9:30 straight to the court, get ready. So the team get ready in the court and straight away go to the court, play there for 4-5 games. And okay, I leave 10:30, 11 o'clock, go back to home and do my own work. So that's how I manage, try to manage all these activities. So that, whole day work, if you get tired, a lot of issues, lot of things. So once you play, your office exhaustions will be completely out. So you are again start with the full of energy at 10 o'clock in the evening. You can start again your office. So that's how I manages my time.
Right. So for you, sport is really a way to get energized. That's wonderful. Ma'am, oil refineries are not a place where one will actually find so many women. So what are the challenges that you have faced and overcome to be a woman in leadership position in an oil PSU?
Yeah, I mean, that's a questions, perhaps in India is very suited questions. In the refinery, operation is something different than other industries, I would say. But while you go for as a leadership is something different, you have to manage entire thing. But I just want to talk about something of refinery operations. Refinery itself is dealing with a very flammable material, so it's a hazardous material. It moves through pipe and equipment. The crude or the fossil fuel, it moves through pipe and equipment. It is not visible, and the entire thing is monitored by your instrumentation systems and external checking and your physical observations and all this. Now, crude processing or crude refining is a continuous process. So the refinery runs 24/7. The people work in shift. Instruments works all the time, and there will be some kind of problems any time in a day, and you have to respond any odd time, any odd location, and any odd positions, which may be top of a structure or the equipment. You have to climb the monkey ladders at maybe middle of the night. The instrument located at 50-meter height, you have to climb from the monkey ladder, reach to that locations, and then you have an operator over there. You have to get along with your operators. You have to get along with the contract workers, and all of them go there. You have to go there and you have to direct them and get the job done. Now, this job is a very tough job, and not to consider actually in our country is womankind. Because this requires a high level of agility, the high level of mental strength, and you have to be ready all the time. Just not only daytime from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, all the time. So this is in our country, the people assume it that maybe women will not be suitable for this. So that's a challenge. The acceptability level of the environment of the people around are not grown up with this. They are not grown up with this kind of environment. So what happened when I joined at Indian Oil as an inspection engineer? All my job was that kind, which I have explained to you. So when I joined, I have been actually posted in a department called inspection department in a section called failure analysis, which is the job in the office camp. And my male colleagues, they were all engaged in those kind of jobs. So I felt probably I was demeaned or I was ignored or I may not be able to get my experience done if I am not working the prime as in the frontline worker, I would say. So I said, okay, you first of all, you allow me to do the job and see whether I'm able to do it or not. Why you are stopping from your end from the beginning, assuming that I will not be able to do it? And I feel I'm capable enough. I'm physically fit. I'm having agility. I'm having that physical strength to climb up to the any locations of any equipment, any structure. So they said, okay, fine. If this girl really desire to do so, let us put her into the site work, in the shift work, and then let's see how she does. And that is what I started my career when I joined. And then, you have to, when you do so, you have to actually work one notch up to prove yourself that you are capable of doing it in equal manner like our male colleagues are doing. So that's how the challenges started. And over the time, I can only tell you is that it's you who creates your environment and percolate the message to your colleagues, to your seniors, to your juniors, everyone around you that you are able to handle this job and you are rather better able to handle this job than anyone else. And that's what you have to prove yourself that you can do it. Environment is not that comfortable with us. It's a harsh environment because in our kind of country, we born with this kind of culture, we born with this kind of mentality. That's how we are. So this is the challenge started from the life. And once you establish yourself that you are capable of doing it, I suppose then your problems or your challenges gradually get reduced in the course of time of your work. I can only tell you when I established myself that I can do this and I can even do better than anybody else, then it's the people who come forward, okay, you give the job to her, she will be able to do it. And there was also a lot of restrictions in my travel. Okay, she's going alone if something goes wrong. So they anticipate or they envisage that there will be some kind of problem, some kind of issues of their own. So I said, okay, if some boy can travel alone, I can also do it. If the problem comes, let me make my own platform. So I traveled all along the country, everywhere, wherever, and that's a fight I have to do, which a male colleague didn't require to do it at that point of time. And you have to fight alone. You have to fight alone because when I joined, we are only 3 ladies in our industry, in our plant. And in my sections, I was the only lady and all were the male colleagues. And I can understand one thing in that is that you have to get along with them. You cannot just all the time argue or get away from them. You have to establish and get along with them. You have to make your own culture, own environment, own requirement, own desire along with them. I'll tell you, when I have created this culture, everyone started talking about myself and she is doing really hard work. And the people started accepting me. And by that, I can tell you that when I established, I have gone to Qatar alone, which is a Middle East country. There's lots of obstructions from my family members, from my office, from my seniors that this Middle East, we don't know very well how you can go. But I'll tell you, I worked with them 2 months at South Korea in one of my deputation work, and I performed so well. The Qatarians told me, you have to go to my Qatar site. Otherwise, project is not going to happen in time. So, but when that, that confirmation has been given, my officers has given a lot of restrictions to depute me over there because they were anticipating a lot of issues. Obviously, it happens. But I said, okay, I'll go there for 1 month. Let's see if I'm comfortable or not, and then I'll come back. I have been there. I worked with them. I was the only single lady over there. Worked with 75 multiple people of multiple countries, Tunisia, Egyptians, and majorly from Middle East countries. I worked with them, and they were very comfortable with me. I have also made a very comfortable environment with them. I was also very comfortable with them. And I was, instead of 1 month, I spent there for 1.5 years. So these are the things where challenges that are there for the women, because we don't have much of women in this industry. But
Correct.
we have to
Right.
have courage, passion, and compassion in the work to establish our own environment. And that's how you will be able to create your own environment to go ahead. Make your own environment the way you want. It's challenging, but yes, it requires a lot of courage for everyone, for all women. So if your courage is there, you can go ahead, they will accept it. So we have to create our own environment. I put it that.
But in our country, girls are conditioned to think that, you can have a career in certain sector. You can have a career in health, hospitality. How do we get little young girls excited about careers in manufacturing and refinery operations?
We have now, I would say this particular one is, it's an anticipation. We think more about how it should go rather than how we can do it. Now, in our country, majorly the women, they choose to go to health, finance, HR, software business, and supply and chain, and all other sections, which is considered to be a soft one, and which can also use flexi time, and you don't need to go to odd time, and the job is very soft on the chairs and tables and all like that. But in the manufacturing sections, as I told, particularly in the refinery operations, is really very, very difficult. It requires really a tremendous amount of courage and your guts to go ahead to do it. Nothing is difficult, I can say. Now the girls think about more on that part, but they don't think about they have a really potential to do it. That's the most important thing. They have the potential, but they don't think about those potential. She can do it. That's important. If she thinks about it, that she can do it, she can do. She can.
So you
Now,
think girls are holding themselves back?
Girls are holding themselves back, mostly because when we in our house, when we born, the girl children are accordingly groomed up by their parents, that you are to do this, you are not to do this, you should do this, you are not to. So there is a distinct difference between the treatment between the girl children and the boy children. So
Right.
that treatment should be should be given unbiasedly by the parents. Both are equal, and that equality should be provided to the children. So usually that kind of treatment, it creates an environment within the mind of the children, that I'm not supposed to do this kind of thing, and the parents also tells you are not supposed to do this kind of thing, and that's how our society also has been created like this.
Right.
But there is absolutely nothing is impossible. We are also physically fit, and today's scenario, we are not to carry a weight of 50 kg material. No, everything is online. Everything has got mechanism and all this. So everything is very soft. Otherwise, I mean, in a hard work, soft job, you don't have to. You have to be very, very, very spontaneous. You have to be very, very agile, fit, physically fit, mentally fit. And you have to remember that these days, even in the public sector, has a lot of policies which is suitable to for women to work. For example, paternity leave, maternity leave. Lots of, you can change your discipline after you join. Then in our organizations, we are also providing to the support. I mean, the person who supports the children, he or she can also go with us on tour. That is also provided. So there are a lot of facilities are there, and particularly when you are posted in the refinery division, refinery units, you have a beautiful township. All facilities are available, including creche. So the creche facilities are also there. So if they think about utilizing all this, I don't think there would be any problem. So today, in today's scenario, the companies are providing a lot of facilities for the women. A lot of trainings are also provided, special training for them. So having those taken into account, I think the girls can come forward even into the manufacturing unit. And in our organizations, we have a lot of examples. The people that they're working in ROs, they are working in COCOs, they are working in aviation field and everywhere, and they're doing excellently well in their site work as well as in their housework. So absolutely, I don't think the problems are many, but yes, bit of it which can be overcome very easily.
Shukla, You answered the question that I was going to pose to you as to how we can help women in manufacturing and operations succeed. You already answered that, but I want to understand that, women in public sector undertakings are declining. So why is that happening? And how can we stem this slide?
Miloni, one thing is very important, I would like to say is, like in our life, they work, we need to work something 30 to 35 years. We start our life at the age of 21, 22 in the working life, and then it continues for 35 years, 30 to 35 years. That's a very big span. So when we start our life, particularly for the women, they require to balance their family, raising the family, and then the working in the office. Office might be quite away from the home, so a lot of things are there. So managing both the things are becoming very, very difficult sometimes. So after certain time of work, maybe 5-10 years, they feel that it's become very difficult to continue, and they are physically tired, mentally tired, and then they opt for one side, either for the office or for the family. So usually they choose for the family, and that's how it is declining. But into while I say about it, I want to also indicate one thing very clearly is that when this industry started, we didn't have actually the infrastructure suitable for the women. We didn't have the washroom. We didn't have the check and change room. We didn't have, check and change room. Even if it is there, it's not so hygiene. It's not very safe. So these are also the things which actually, contributing for women to go away from the industries. So there are two parts. So, but now today this scenario has changed. The scenario is now in our company, the infrastructure is fully available. It is quite hygiene, and it's safe now. There are a lot of other things available. So people, women are very, very safe. Women have all the infrastructure available, and it's full of hygiene. So there is absolutely no problem. So technically, although it is declining, but I'm sure the way things are moving, the way organizations are taking care of the women, this area, the requirement of the women, things will improve soon.
COVID must have been a pretty challenging time for refineries. So, what do you think was your biggest learning from the pandemic that will really stand you in good stead?
Oh my God, COVID was extremely challenging for me because, particularly for the refineries, because we have to run the plant and we have to take care of them. So running the plant where we have many control rooms where TCS panels are there, instrument panels are there, and people sit together to work. So if one person is get contaminated, the other one will be affected, and you will be free. They are the expert. You cannot put someone from that from one area and put it there. So how to manage the operation run? That was the biggest challenge for our case. So what we did actually, first of all, we tried to keep them knowledgeable about the subject, the awareness. We have brought a massive awareness. We put all our union people, association people, even at the last end, we have put our housewife and we declared this housewife is the business associate for Indian Oil Corporation Limited. Because, this female counterpart in the home is very, very important. So they control the house. And if she is aware of the complication of the COVID, she will be able to control the entire house. So we have gone into the campaign for making everyone aware, all stakeholders, which includes even the contractor workers also. We made a massive awareness program, putting all my associations, union, housewives, as well as contractor workers together, and passed on the message to every level what they should do, what COVID protocol behavior they should maintain by each and every individuals and every corner of the refinery as well as township. Now, as I told you, the control room is a very in an area which is any person get affected, the entire control room may have to be vacated and the plant has to be put out of operations. But believe me, by that way, this worked really fine, and by that way, we could make the magic. We could run the entire plant without shutting down any of the plant during that time, because we have to fuel the nation, and that was our prime duty. Besides, We have set up a control room in our township. We have set up an isolation center in our township. We have made a lot of curtaining effect into the plant at different areas in our check and chain room, in our control rooms. And then we have done a lot of campaigning everywhere, inside, in the house, everywhere. And after that, we could manage these things because the Begusai district where now I am posted is also not equipped with a very good hospitals and doctors. We have to manage ourselves. So these are the has been done. I'm tell you that one of the most important thing which I have implemented here in the COVID-19 is 3T: tracing, test, and treatment. So we have actually, deployed one institute who are doing all antigen test, and we have done massively house to house, trace it out, test them out, and then treat them off. So we have isolated them who are there so that they are not contaminating my operating groups, anyone. So that's how we have done for the 4 months continuous basis. So we have implemented 3T. That's the first time has been done in Indian Oil. And 3T has really become mass awareness, and 3T really has worked. But out of all things, the message I can give you what I have learned, that if the human resource really roped in, it can do a miracle. So we work together in a team. My union, my associations, my housewives, my children, my entire refinery fraternity, including contractor workers, we have become a team, a single team, and we work together for the benefit of each other. And that really made a magic. And we could run the refinery without shutting off, and we could save everyone everywhere. And we were accessible to every person, even children also. That's how we have managed COVID.
You know, we can feel the warmth that you feel for your team and their families extending
Yes.
to, you know, the unions, the way you
Yes.
speak about them as a team. What are your dreams now for yourself? What are your goals for yourself and also for Indian Oil Corporation?
I feel very pleasure to work with Indian Oil. You know, Indian Oil is a company, first work for the nation, then everything else elsewhere. So it's a great pleasure working with Indian Oil. And since joining, I'm in Indian Oil, I feel really confident working in Indian Oil. And now it's a this organization gives us so much of thing. We work for the nation through these organizations. Now, my goal would be is that affecting the top line effectively, also the bottom line effectively for these organizations. So if I want to keep an imprint of my job in the growth of this organization, that's my goal. This organization is highly related, or in fact cohesively related to the nation's requirement at the time. We reach to every corner of the country. We have a pan-India existence everywhere. Wherever you go, Indian Oil is there. At every time, every off time, every bad time, every thick and thin situations of the country. It's a pleasure of working in this kind of organizations. My goal is to contribute everything for this nation through these organizations and affecting the bottom line and the top line of these organizations effectively. So we should run all these 9 refineries very smoothly and effectively without any kind of unsafe practices, unsafe happenings, and it should actually run with highest level of reliability, highest level of capacity utilizations. And so to say, I can tell you is that currently our processing capacity is the highest in the country. And I want to keep my organizations growing more than what we are today. And we're looking for that. We are increasing our total capacity by 25 million metric ton per annum, and totaling will be reaching to something around 120 million metric ton per annum, which probably no one can dream to achieve that. And we want to go in that way. So the Indian Oil is a big organization, and we want to be very, very big every time and all the time. That's what my dream. And currently I have got a project of 1.3 lakh crores, which never happened. It's a huge project, and we all of us has got a big responsibility of completing this project and get the benefit, reaping the benefit of the entire project very soon. So we are trying to complete the entire project by 2024 or 2025. That's a big responsibility we have now currently. So we want to see Indian Oil is increasing in its volume, its shape, and in size, as well as in its revenue and the bottom. And that's my dream.
Ma'am, can you tell us a little bit about your background? How did you come to be part of Indian Oil? What has been your journey?
Okay, Eloni, I actually born in a very small village in the remotest part of the country. That is District 24 Parganas of West Bengal. Even I would say at that point of time, there was only one school and no college, and even the electricity has not reached over there. And the livelihood is very humble. So basically, I'm from a very humble background, from a remote one of the village, from the remotest corner of the country. And then once I completed my class 10, I traveled to Kolkata. That's the first visit to the city. And I did my class 12 in Lady Provan College, one of the best college in Calcutta. And then I did my engineering in Bengal Engineering College in Howrah. That is also one of the best engineering college at West Bengal. And then thereafter, I have joined Indian Oil Corporations as a graduate engineer trainee. And today, I have been transferred in the various refineries from Halia Refinery to Barauni Refinery, Barauni to, then I have gone to Qatar for 2 years for Qatar Petroleum on deputation. And I would say that I was the first inspection engineer in Indian Oil Corporation Limited. I was the first women engineer going to Qatar Petroleum as a single woman going there to execute their project. And after that, I have been transferred to Panipat Refinery. From Panipat Refinery, I have been transferred to refinery headquarters at New Delhi. Then I've been transferred to another corner of the country, Digboi Refinery, where I was in charge of Digboi Refinery. And then I have been again transferred to Barauni Refinery. And in my first transfer to Barauni Refinery, you won't believe we had only 2 girls during that time over here working in the plant. And Barauni is located in Begusarai, which was considered to be one of the aggressive area, very harsh area, you so-called. I mean, it's not suitable for working. Very comfortable to go around, do around the job. So this is the entire journey. What I can say that today's journey from my graduate engineer trainee to executive director of Barauni Refinery is a big journey in my life. Yeah. And I have been selected as a director refinery divisions of Indian Oil Corporation Limited. I really feel elated, but I actually want to give a message that a girl from a very humble background, from the remotest corner of the country, can do many things. So this should inspire all the girls of our country. Yes, if you want, you can do that. You should have a never die attitude. So you should have courage, passion, and compassion. You can resolve any problem and every problem in your life. So I put this message to all my women folks of our country, that get and grow, and you have sky in the limit. You have the potential. You can do anything. So you have the courage and get grow in your life and enjoy your life, because the sky is the limit.
There's this other thing that I wanted to ask is, why is it that there are so few women in leadership position? And you obviously had a very long journey, to leadership. Why is it that the number of women in leadership positions across India is so low?
Okay. You see, like down to 9, if I go back 30 years, I mean, if you come to a leadership positions today, so you have to spend about 25-30 years time. So way back to 25 years, the entry level women were very less. The women engineers were also very less. Women in the industries were also very less. On the top of it, as you grow up, you will see that women has to be one notch up in her performance than than her male colleagues. If she wants to be promoted or elevated, she has to be, well distinct in her performance. So she has to work really hard, and she has to be one notch up to recognize herself to be promoted or elevated. As you grow up further up in your organization, further ladder up in your organizations, you have to be far more better than your male colleagues to be elevated, to be promoted, to your leadership. So in the topmost positions or the topmost in the leadership, like in your board of directors or some other positions of your organizations, the best of everything comes, which are few. But that's why you see that you have to struggle a lot so much from the beginning, and you find that at the organizations level, the very few women are there. They still exist. Unless your performance is too good compared to your male colleagues, you are not well recognized. So you have to struggle really with lot more than your male colleagues, and that still exists. It requires some time maybe, and I think today government has taken a lot of decisions to take women in the director level, board of directors, which is a good move, which will help all the women to grow up fast. Maybe all the organizations are thinking in that direction, which will definitely help. But it was existing and it is still exists. That's why a few women are there in the top positions of the organization.
As a woman, I would think of that as very, very unfair. What are your thoughts?
It's unfair, but it's our country and we are born into that kind of environment. Our society is born, but then we ladies should break it. Many of our ladies, so-called, they have broken all the glass ceiling. And we have in the Air Force, in the armies, in the military, everywhere they have broken the glass ceiling. Those things will be, like fair and unfair. And it's such a big challenge for all of us. We have to perform. The glass ceiling has been broken in the many areas by the many women. So I think things will move fast now. It will be no more unfair. It will be now fair. I feel so, yes. Thank you.
And we wish you all the best in everything that you undertake. Congratulations once again. Thank you so very much for your time today and your commitment to the cause.
Thank you very much, Miloni. Thank you very much.